Hello and welcome to this demo of Visual Analyzer in Oracle BI Cloud Service. For this demo, I play the role of a manager of a service organization in a company that deals with computer components and its related services. I am responsible for closely monitoring the performance and effectiveness of my organization. This morning, I was alerted that number of open service requests are higher than usual. I want to look at the SRs and see if there is any that needs to be prioritized. For that, I have taken an extract of all open and in progress service requests from our system. I have also included few basic account information for each of those SRs, such as the account's customer satisfaction score, total revenue, how soon their contract is expiring, and so on. To explore this data, I start with loading it into BICS through Visual Analyzer. Visual Analyzer not only loads and manages this data, it automatically profiles the data to identify relationships, data types of the columns, and mark each column as an attribute or a metric. I can also use this UI to override the default aggregation rule for our metrics. Metrics in our case are satisfaction score and total revenue. I want to start by looking at the number of SRs. Number of SRs is not readily available here. I can add a custom calculation for SR count. Now I want to look at SR count by severity and product line. I select these columns and drag drop them onto the screen. Visual Analyzer automatically presents that information using an intuitive visualization. I see here that we have quite a lot of SRs in high and critical severity. But let me see if it is coming from any specific product line. For that, I convert this view into a tree map. Here the distribution of SRs across product lines looks fine to me. And I want to see the SR count by the severity and age of each of those SRs. For that, I select those columns and simply add them to this drop zone. I can see that there is a considerable chunk of SRs with high and critical severity. And especially within that, we have a sizable number that has been open for more than 30 days. This is certainly concerning and I need to explore this further. Let me start by filtering for high and critical SRs. I can do that by dragging and dropping the column to the filter bar and selecting the required values. I also want to focus in on SRs that have aged more than 30 days. Still, I have quite a lot of them here. I may have to expedite SRs from high value customers. So I want to see which all accounts these SRs originate from and their total revenues. Visual Analyzer intuitively presents this information using a scatter plot. I swap these metrics to bring SR count to x-axis. A lot of these accounts have just one open SR, so I am excluding them from our analysis. I can simply select these accounts directly on the chart and choose Remove Selected option. Now, this looks like a set that I need to take a closer look at. Let me bring in the customer satisfaction score to add a bit more context into this. I can size the bubbles by number of SRs. This bubble on the top of the chart is showing a high value customer with 11 open SRs. I will need to expedite some of them. I also know that agreements for some of these accounts are coming up for renewal soon. So I need to factor that as well into this prioritization. Let me add the agreement expiry to the color property of this chart. The red bubble here is indicating that this account, Lloyd Tech, is up for agreement renewal soon. Their customer satisfaction score is quite low and they also have 8 high severity SRs. So let me filter for these two accounts. To see the SR details, I am adding a table view with these selected columns. I can group the rows by account name. So here I have a list of less than 20 SRs that I need to follow up and expedite. I also need to set up a meeting with the account Lloyd Tech to see how we can improve their satisfaction. Let me conclude. I started this exploration without really knowing what to look for, but Visual Analyzer offered valuable insight by guiding me through right visualizations and intuitive interactions. I ultimately finished with a couple of real action items, and all that in a matter of few minutes. That concludes this demo. Thanks for your time.